Hey friends, welcome to Moxie Gardens. I'm Mike Toomey, and today we're going to hopefully, by video's end, wrap up this west side project. I can tell you it's coming along quite well. We have a lot to do. Whimsy, I like. You seem to like. A little bit can go a long ways. We're going to add some things in there that's going to get a little bit whimsical. At the same time, we're going to try to tame it down and really make this I want to take this area serious, and I want to put the final touches on it. We're going to be removing some things. We're going to be adding some things. I've real quick got to go to a couple stores to pick up some stuff. So hopefully we don't cheat and just go to the end product just to see how it turned out. Stick with me during this journey and let's see how the day unfolds. A lot to do to go into there. Early morning, I've got all day. It's my day off. Let's see how it transitions. Can't wait. Let's get started. Okay, I would have liked to have taken you for the ride inside, but it is a madhouse this morning. Maybe it has something to do with the nice temperatures. Okay, but we've got periwinkle, box of screws that's going to be needed to get everything attached. Got the hooks that we'll end up having to paint black. Could not find the black hooks to hang the lights. I'm going to extend the walkway, so there's one more board. And then we're putting in a swing. Something's coming out. And there's the rope. So this is shaping up to be a pretty good project. So I'll get this loaded in, and we've got one more stop, I believe, to make, and then we can head home and start putting this stuff to use. Okay guys, we're back. Got all the supplies I need. There was one thing I didn't get, and I lost audio. I went to Hobby Lobby to get some things. Not an artificial guy, but at certain points I'll need it. Okay, I want to show you the gate. I'm not going to paint the gate just yet. It will get done on this video. Just not going to paint it yet because I want the sun to be shining on it to give you guys perspective of how it looks. Because right now it's west side of the home, so we're in all shadow. Let me turn this around. Okay, so if we look here, I want to show you the charm of this thing. I'm not going to paint it just yet. It will get painted in this video. It just don't want to just yet because I want the sun to be on this spot so that it will really showcase the colors, whatever we decide to paint, so that the color comes through real well. It will probably blend in because this is the west side of our home, which means we have shade for most of the day until about evening time. One of you had I've been watching or been looking at comments. A lot of stuff is coming through. I love it. One of you had mentioned putting that underneath. We thought about that. I thought about that, but I wanted the dimension. I wanted to feel like there was depth to this spot. So still might happen. You've asked as well, hey, how are you anchoring these down? Did you anchor them? I did not anchor anything just yet. Now, I will not be anchoring it to the ground. Those 4x4s that are treated, has to be treated lumber if you decide to do anything outside. But that treated lumber is just resting on the ground. It would take 30 years before I would have any kind of issue with that. But these flat pieces, the boards will anchor into the 4x4s that are below it. So there's that. We got another board we're going to piece because we're going to add just a little bit more depth to this, so it's going to go into the side. I got them smaller so that as you're looking, the visual starts to fade towards the back. So a little bit smaller in width, and hopefully what I'm thinking in my mind will actually work out. I will rest those two on there because, again, I'm trying to shoot for the depth to allow you to understand, your mind to wrap around that this goes back for layers. We are getting ready to tear out the outhouse. So I really like this. The outhouse, I could never make it look like an actual outhouse. I couldn't pull it together. Sure, I could add a piece there, but this is where our new swing's gonna go. So I can imagine a little seating area back here once I get all this cleaned up off this Leyland cypress. And so I'll be able to put a bench there for my wife and I to watch over our grandbabies, eventual grandbabies, and a little swing here for them and anyone else who wants to swing that might live here. So a lot of comments are coming through that this reminds you of the bayou. that is exactly what we were going to name this, what I was going to name this today. I just didn't want to lose a lot of people, so I'll figure out a way to mention the Bayou in Kansas or something. I'll come up with something that hopefully will catch on and people will want to watch this video. So that being said, we're going to continue our little journey down the bayou, and we'll get it straightened in there. So Bonnie, I think Bonnie, you're a viewer. You named, you called it out, I think twice, about this being something like the bayou. So very, very clever. I'm glad you guys are all on the same page. All right, let's get some things done and let's see how this unfolds. I'm sure by the time we start actually getting mega progress going, the day will probably be in the sun. So let's get started. Okay, friends, here we're just rocking and rolling here. I'm excited. I wanted to kind of stop what I was doing to share with you guys the progress we're making. Sun is directly above me. I wanted to really showcase this and share this with you with the sun shining right down on it. Yes, it will disappear as we start to get into the shade, and that's what I want. So if you can imagine going through the garden, you've been following me for any length of time. We don't do anything real shiny and bright, and it doesn't fit so well. But these colors are kind of an inspiration to me because I really like the New Orleans Mardi Gras colors, those purple and golds and yellows. I think that's such a fun combination, and I've always liked like the cemeteries and I like the moss, kind of fallen from the trees, and there's just so much that I really like. I thought, why not bring it here? Well, little by little, we've dotted it throughout the landscape, and I think it's just a continuation. If I would have just had this stark white piece, it's going to stand out like I don't know. But we're looking at the gate now. I just want you to take for a second and look through the gate. Look at all those colors. We got that Japanese maple. Look at the hostas down there. The board, the pathway. Everything just plays so well. It's so inviting. It really pulls you in. Okay, that's that. I'll come back and I'll continue to make progress on here. Hang on, got a FedEx truck moving right along. So I anchored this down. I've got our little shed right here, our little outhouse is tore down. Obviously you've seen the making of that. And then we cleaned this up real good. There's some pieces still in there that can be removed, but right now we're making progress. I'm going to add a bench. We're going to add the swing set right here. And I think we can kind of continue going on, but I wanted to share that gate with you and how it looks with the sun shining right directly on it with all the colors behind us. So anyway, let's continue. All right, guys, we're rocking and rolling. We've got all the dead branches cut off of there. We now have the 2 posts set in concrete. I've got the upper piece. They're not connected, so I can drill holes down so I can shoot the rope up. But we are still going to let that cure before we start moving around with that any longer. I am going to paint it, but haven't got to that yet. We are about to get our whimsy on, so all the material that was from this outhouse is now going to come over here. We're going to use parts of it for here. We are going to make a little deck right here, and then we're going to take this piece and put it over the top and make that an awning. So if you are into whimsy, we're about to get a little creative here. Also too, we're going to cut the board here and lead it into that spot so it just kind of disappears back there and you don't really know where it starts, where it ends. So then your imagination gets to kick in. So let's start turning on the whimsy a little bit more than we already have. Let's get started. Look at the patina. It's gorgeous. Okay, friends, we're rocking and rolling. This is coming together. Told you we were going to go real whimsy. I've got some things. I've been just kind of gathering, and then I put in the shed. I've had stuff in the shed that I've had in there for 3, 5, 10 years. That's moved with me here and there, and just for the perfect moment. So I've got a red chair, an old heater that we've been, I mean, it's rusted out. So we're gonna see if we can find some of those pieces and put it over here as well. Plus, I went to Hobby Lobby, a little bit more whimsy, a little bit more. Also along the way, it has been a beautiful day. I can't believe we've got away with such a quiet, peaceful day. We haven't had those in a long time, in a long, long time. Well, I suppose you could just call these props. Plant stand, chair. What would you originally call those? Little heater, something. Help me out if you're watching this part of the video. Feel free to tell me what that is. I could actually probably Google it, but let me know. Okay, friends, progress. However, it's not a finished product. We're gonna have to push this into Friday. Hopefully I can finish up Friday. Man, I bit off more than I can chew. I thought I was gonna be able to do this, but that little booger right there, trying to paint it's not even done. Look, we've still got the edges or spots. It's a lot. So I may have to call in reinforcements. Jesse may have to come and help me, and that's just one side. I haven't even touched the other side. So that took me some time, and then I said, you know what, I got to move on with the day. But anyway, so that purple's going to be amazing right there. It's not too bright. It fits into what we're doing here. It's got that Mardi Gras, that swamp, that bayou feel, that New Orleans thing going on. I really, really, really like it. We can do a lot of things still with this. We can add a wreath with color. We could, some of you guys in the comments from yesterday's video talked about the door, how I have the door, adding that, incorporating that color into here, and maybe just making the whole thing that color. But what if we just went here and did the 5 tips on there? Would that not be pretty cool? I know it's my garden, and you're gonna, but I like feedback when we open this garden up for tours. I need it to be extra. I need it to be so much different than any other garden that you've ever been in, and a lot of you play it safe, and a lot of you just go with what feels good. But this channel's able to kind of dig into your imagination, and things that you wouldn't do, you can appreciate vicariously through this channel. So I can get a little weird, a little wonky, and nobody really knows me and personally, so I'm not out anything by being a little bit different. You saw the stone here. We're going to set this down in my son and I moved it in here. We'll set it down in the soil a little bit. We're going to come back here and we're going to fill this back in with something new. I'll sleep on it, but I think I've got a plan, some bricks and a design that's not upkept. We want this to look as old as possible and as kind of forgotten back here. The only other hiccup, I think, so everybody had so many different opinions about this, but I think everybody else appreciated everything we got going on here. There's just a little bit of hiccup with that little step right there, and I just added that there because I wanted the depth. But again, if I'm opening the garden to, you know, unfamiliar faces, and this is the first time you're these types of things I need to know that you know, safety first type deal. We've talked about that in many of my videos. I want the garden to be as safe as possible. and is welcoming. So if this is kind of a hiccup in a lot of people's vision, man, I really want to fix that. But for me, it's just depth. And so we can flip-flop that. That's such an easy fix. If somehow that ends up becoming more of an issue than I think it is. Let's move over here with the sun out of the way. So we got our 2 posts here. You can see on the recap video, I was drilling holes. We're gonna shoot the rope through there, and then we'll be able to attach a little board right here, and you can see we'll have a little swing set just made perfectly for somebody of a particular height. I can actually sit on it. I made it to where I can sit on it. Anybody can sit on it. I thought in the original plan that I'd be able to sit my bench back there and put this swing set somewhere over here so I could watch my grandbabies one day swinging on that. Well, once I started kind of moving stuff around, I was like, there's not enough room. The second part to why I chose such a short structure for this swing set is because I want it to be to scale. So I couldn't have this at 6 or 7 feet tall post-wise and then have this, this scale. So whoever would enter that door is probably appropriate size to use this pathway, and whoever would be on this pathway in that doorway would probably be fit to scale for a little swing set. So that's kind of why I went with, if that makes sense. We're just kind of trying to keep everything to scale. We're going to go ahead and move some of these hostas so I can make a couple little stones right here to kind of hop over there to the swing set. So I'm thinking probably right there where this lily is. We'll leave the lily, and then we'll just move this, and we'll just kind of put it in different spots. I do have a little wicker basket. I'm not sure where that came from, but again, I collect things here and there, whether I need it today or tomorrow or yesterday. I pick up things at will, and then we can have it in the garden at some other point. You can see here we extended our pathway in behind the bush there, so now it kind of just disappears instead of it just all of a sudden stomping there. Then we have the stone and rocks underneath. That gives it that moisture, like there should be water or something in there. And then of course, the thing that I just absolutely love doing more than anything is creating little things like this. So we just took things that were in the garden, and I didn't have to pay for any of this. We're going to come back and still add some things. I told you guys I went to Hobby Lobby. Again, we'll have to kind of bring all that tomorrow in Friday's video. But we're moving right along and just adding these little bit of things. It might be a little bit tight. Doesn't mean I need to keep everything right there. Maybe the little lantern needs to go, but you got red, yellow, and green right there, and then some rust. I thought it turned out kind of fun. But again, I just set it there. We can play with it eventually. I just trying to get as much done as possible. And then we took our little cedar posts that we used in the backyard, and then along here. So we're duplicating this stuff everywhere we go, and just kind of allowing it to continue throughout the garden so it doesn't look mixed matched. So all this rust, all the old wood, all the funky things that we've got going on, we're doing that and mimicking it through the whole garden. So there's echoes everywhere on our property. Eventually, tomorrow's video, hopefully, we come through here and we have all this Vinca minor all through here. We have our lights hung up. We have our swing set. I'm torn on the color on the post. I kind of wanted it to disappear, but this light kind of looks like it's disappearing, right? Kind of blends into the background. We do have our black post here that will hold our lights. I think it's coming together really well. And then I've got a couple little lanterns we're going to introduce into this piece. We used to have it at the other Hobbit place. Oh, and then what'd you guys think of the deck? I'm telling you guys, I kind of just get carried away like a kid when I start doing this stuff. But I tried to cut them all wonky and not too flush. I've got a 2x4 under there. I don't know if I captured that in the video. I have a road right here, so I did not finish off completely because I didn't want to disrupt that rhododendron. Plus, I thought it looked cool right there, so eventually as it continues. I think that's pink. I think it's pink. I'll throw the name up if I remember. Then we had this little piece. I think it's freaking cute. I think this stuff is so cool whenever you can kind of bring this stuff to life. And then, again, I don't have grandbaby knocking on the door, but when it's time, can you imagine back here frolicking around the mystery of this garden, what's going on back there? You know, it's just going to be fun. We've got even adding the driftwood there to make it look like this has been here forever. It's just been forgotten. If you get a kick out of a whimsical treats, go back to yesterday's video, Wednesday's video, I believe, the part 2 of this. A lot of you guys really got in there. Bonnie, your name stands out about the bayou. Forgive me if I've left anybody out, or maybe you haven't commented just yet, but a lot of you had talked about the bayou. I think that's the coolest thing in the world. You guys caught on to what we're doing back here. So, and this garden is just like, it's just a continuation. Nothing's set off differently than what we're doing in each pocket pretty much, except for this gate. This gate is the only thing that really is not something that I've done anywhere else. But man, we'll continue to paint it up. I've got something brewing for the top here to really draw you in. I just think this is moving in the right direction. Again, it's just a matter of when you get back here, where does your imagination take you? And I think it's leading me in the right direction. Who knows, it might get a little out of control, but it's still fun to me. And hopefully you guys are picking up what I'm putting out. This is good stuff. So that being said, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye-bye now.